You look like a Neil Patrick Harrison. Neil, the natural Patrick Harrison. Harrisol. Oh no, Neil Patrick Harrison! How will I ever know if you met my mother? Pour one out for Neil Patrick Harriso. And Jane Luke. We hardly knew ya. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Atratzu, and today I'm going to share my thoughts on Ace Patrol. Sid Meier's Ace Patrol. So let's just start up a new game and let's just go into the full game, training missions and everything. So, Sid Meier's Ace Patrol is it's an interesting game. I would give it the genre tags simulation or flight simulator, as well as, like, it's very similar to, I guess, a board game. It's a flight simulator in that it takes into account many of the different aspects of a flight simulator game. Banking angles, G-forces, stuff like that. There's a lot of detail to it, but it's more of a strategy game because you're not flying like you would in a normal flight simulator game. You would fly in the cockpit and then you'd fly the airplane or jet around. In this case, you're taking a third-person strategic view and you are controlling all of these different vehicles from an external position. So, Sid Meier's Ace Patrol, it was developed by Firaxis Games, and it was released August 27th, 2013. I ended up getting my copy in a Sid Meier's Humble Bundle at some point. So, as you can see, you can start a new game. You have several different options from the beginning setting. You got a new game, you have load a saved game, you have two-player game, which is just a one-time two-player game that you can play with somebody for couch co-op for the most part, and then you just take turns moving your planes. And then of course you have continue last game, which is basically the same thing as load a saved game, and then return to desktop. You got your settings here. Please don't overwhelm us with our vast choice of settings, all of them being effects on or off, music on or off. And yeah, that's all there is to say about this. If you do a new game, you can choose to skip the training missions. I generally do the training missions anyway, because why not? You can choose between 4 different nations. You can choose American, British, French, or German. So for the sake of this, I'm going to represent my own country and choose America. Then you have you choose who the squadron leader is going to be. This really doesn't make too much of a difference, but you just get to choose what perks you want. So as you can see, different pilots have different perks. So Gregory Rickenbacker, test pilot, can select prototype planes. I don't know what that is. Normally I don't choose that one. I normally choose, I don't like any of the ones here. Normally I choose can survive flak cannons, but that's because I'm going for specific achievements, and I'm just like, I'd rather be able to fly in enemy space and be lucky. Deadeye, long range shooter, 9 lives, survives crashes without injury. That one's useful. Strong heart, can perform high G maneuvers. This one's probably the best one out of the options, unless you have long range shooter, and you just learn how to play to that character's strengths. So you have a bit of a journal entry here, and that's kind of how they keep track of what that character has been doing. So you jump into it, and now we get the game mode that we will spend most of our time seeing. So the first tutorial mission is really straightforward, and we're just gonna skip that. The way that it works is you've got all these different options set forward in front of you that you can choose. So you can choose to bank left, you can choose to bank right. Okay, interesting. So this character can already do rotaries apparently. Banked to the right. Let's try it. Can you do a rotary? You can do a rotary right. Can you do a rotary left? Bank left. Bank left. I know can't do a rotary left, so I'm not quite sure why that is. There's still a lot of aspects to this game that I haven't quite understood. Some moves, as you see, require a certain angle for you to be able to use them. Like this one, you have to be banked to the right to be able to dive to the right. So as far as controls are concerned, you don't need to move around too much. You can move the camera around with arrow keys, or you can right click and drag and that will rotate the camera. Left click and drag will move the camera around here and there. Mouse wheel in, mouse wheel out. Trying to see if there are any other keyboard controls worth noting. I'm hitting all the keys on my keyboard. No, not even the plus or minus to zoom in or out. So yeah, make sure you have a mouse to play this game at a bare minimum. So, moving forward, the way that this works is when you are in range, your pilot then will have a green movement location spot to indicate that, hey, this pilot can shoot when you choose this one. And so if you look to the top right, when I mouse over, this will do 95% damage, which will not bring the German balloon down, or you can go straight, which will then do 100% damage. Generally, when you're against other planes, it's recommended that you try to get on their tail and destroy them from the flanks or the tails. And that's true to flight simulator games, because I've played a lot of flight simulator games, and that was always my strategy, was to try to get in behind my enemy and then unload with my cannon, bullets, etc., lasers. It's in Jedi Starfighter, you would shoot off your lasers when you get behind them, and then you'd force shock. Sorry, you didn't ask for Jedi Starfighter, but that's what I'm going with. So let's destroy this air balloon. The air balloon goes down. And so there are a couple more things to spot about that we get feedback from this screen. So I don't think I pointed it out, but if you look to the bottom left, you have the name of whatever move you're doing. Slow, diving left, banking right, dive right, slow dive, straight. And then you have up here the pilot, and this shows the different moves that this pilot currently knows. So Wanda, Strongheart. This is also the pilot's level. Right now, the pilot is level 1 because we've shot down one plane. So I think that either means that she'll be level 2 when she gets out, or she'll level up when she gets out, or that means she's already level 1. Regardless, the more planes you shoot down, the higher your pilot gets. Oh, and balloons count as shooting down planes, by the way. The higher your level your pilot gets, and then the more moves you unlock, which allow you to do many more other moves. This gives you a reference to what all of the different icons are. So if you ever forget and you're confused okay, you have like an arrow pointing down, it already shows it. It's really friendly as far as the user interface is concerned. So the arrow pointing down, you lose altitude, it has high G-forces, it's high speed, and you're banking to the right. Whereas opposed to this one, you're banking to the left and it has high G-forces. Whereas level flight, nothing here, nothing there. If you're going down, you lose altitude and you have high speed, but you're not banking one way or another. I believe if you affect your character enough with G-forces, their accuracy on their plane goes down. Now, something to point out about this is you see there's a 3, and then as German balloon 3, that means that's the altitude that it's at right now. It's at 3. I've just brought our plane down to 1 altitude. And then when you bring it down and you climb up. So now it should be a 2. You climb up again, now it should be a 3. And now it's at max, so you can no longer climb any higher. So let's swing in here. This one doesn't do all the damage because we came in at an angle. As you can see, the crosshairs indicate what the strongest attack is going to be. Now here's a mistake I made early on in this game, is I always went for the strongest attack. That's not necessarily what you want to do. You probably should choose this one, but there are times when you might choose the strongest attack, which will then put you in enemy fire from one of the bases below, or it'll put you in a vulnerable state where the next following move you're going to be destroyed and unloaded on by another plane. So you don't always want to make that move. But for this case, it's the end of this game, this particular challenge, so it's not that difficult. So there's no real choice there. Then at the end you have this screen, which is showing how the campaign is going. It gives you a score. If you want to have a higher score, even if you're doing the same levels, increasing the difficulty will do that for you. You get to choose different missions as you go through. The first bit, I think the first offensive, you don't get really that much choice and variety. I think we might be able to halfway through. I think these are just considered the tutorial missions. So we get squadron news. Okay, Wanda Crosby promoted to corporal, learns new maneuvers. Now's when it gets fun, because now you get to customize your character-ish, which will give you more abilities to use. So you got power moves, you got roll maneuvers, and then you've got ace maneuvers. And so you can mouse over all these to get the explanation. Personally, I like rolls and power moves. I would rather have a lot of moves to choose from rather than invest in getting ace maneuvers. This might be different for different people, and you can just take my advice with a grain of salt. Chances are you want to mix and match a little bit, and if you know how you want your characters to be, you can then choose your wingmen to have complementary skills and then use everybody accordingly. I'm not getting that much into the strategy though of the game. I just play casually, play a couple rounds, and it's low system requirements, so I can play it on my laptop too as well if I want to play something a little bit more simple and I'm feeling like playing a strategy game. So I like power maneuvers, so I'll grab that because I like my climbing left and climbing right. So now you got your pilot. You can rename at this point. You can also choose between different skins after you've completed the game. You unlock different skins. I always choose green to indicate my main character. So I can choose Eddie Rickenbacker or Frank Luke. So let's do this one. Look like a stunt pilot. And then you can change the name if you want to change the name to Carmen San Diego. You can't see what I'm typing because it is shown outside of my capture window, but trust me, we are just going to make her name Carmen San Diego. So now she is Carmen Strongheart San Diego. And then this shows the upgrades that the plane has that you're flying. This is your level. That is your journal. And as you can see, customizable by clicking here, customizable by clicking here. Gives you your hit points, your climb, dive, maneuver, and as you progress through the game, you will get different planes. I would assume that if you had a pilot that could fly prototype planes, you'd either get the new planes early, or you would get new exclusive planes. But again, I've never done that, so I don't know. You got your save, you got your main menu, you have options here as well, nothing new there, and fly next mission. So let's save, and we'll save onto this trash save slot that I'm currently not really using. So now you jump into the next one, and this is our first example of a dogfight. And that's when the game gets a whole lot more tactical because you need to plan your route accordingly. So it then introduces you bit by bit to different aspects of the game. So now you have a choice. It's like, okay, if I want to go along the same hex and head against him face to face, I could dive left. But if I dive left, that's going to bring me down 1 altitude. Should I do that and then try to go up from underneath him? That's probably not a good idea. I'd rather stay at the same altitude. So I'm going to bank left now rather than go straight. If I go slow or I go straight, he's going to try to tuck in behind me. So you don't want to do that. You're going to bank left. Okay, now he should be in range to shoot. These are the recommended shots unless I want to dive forward. If I do these shots, he'll probably be able to get 1 more shot off on me. But we're early enough in the game, it's probably going to be fine. And again, we're still in the tutorial part of the game, so it's not going to be overly difficult or complicated. So he turned away. That's definitely a tutorial thing to do. Following him up, you are now flanking him, and then you open fired, shot him down. You got another kill count. Crashed. You get those points. You get the victory points. You can also view a replay if you want. You got a squadron news. You now can choose an ace maneuver if you want to do an ace maneuver. I would prefer rolls and loops personally. Now you choose your wingmen. I think that we should definitely choose this guy because he looks very much like Neil Patrick Harrison. That's why I chose him and named him as such. Though he's not named that now. He's now Tom Corbett. However, let's jump out of this, though. Let's go to a new game and then skip the training missions, and let's play as somebody else. Let's play British. Ah, Neil Patrick Harrison, I see we've met again. Test pilot. Alright, so he's got a mustache. That's okay, sure. So now you can choose between two different types of planes. Do you want to have a plane that has lower speed but higher maneuver, dive, and climb? Or would you like high maneuver, normal speed? You don't have a choice in speed. Would you like to have high maneuver? No, there's really no benefit to this one, I don't think. 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. This would be the better plane. We got to choose green because that is my color. And Billy Test Pilot Brown. Blank, blank. Blank Test Pilot blank. Alright, now we're going to give you a loop.
Thank you, sir.
Alright, now we're going to give you power climbs. And now we've pretty well caught up to where we were. Let's select mission. So, once you get out of the tutorial phase of the game, you then get to start selecting your missions and choosing which mission you prefer. So you've got several different types of missions. Each one plays a little bit differently, but there is a bit of a roadmap that you can look up with a few guides that have been written for the game. Some missions are easier than others. Some missions do better than others for leveling up other characters, like sitting ducks is one that the game itself has a tooltip that pops up for that says, hey, you should do that. We could do tanks if we want to push the line back. You can choose the skill level, and this is, again, it increases the points that you'll get for it, and some achievements require you to play on a higher skill level. Not much else to say about the skill level. The AI is a little bit improved. If it's on rookie or easy difficulties, the AI are more likely to not shoot at you for something, but they switch out of that really quickly. It's like max range and stuff like that. And then I think it's just damage increased, and then if you take flak damage, it's especially bad. You can see here the progression of the player. As you level up your player, these portraits indicate what is eventually added to your character. So when we started out with Patrick Neil Harrison, you had this portrait, and then he grew a mustache because apparently that's a symbol of rank or something. And then you get a different hat, you get a different hat, you get a different scarf, metal thing. You get the idea.
Excellent.
So now you align pilots. So we chose a mission, and this mission required 2 pilots to have. So we choose these 2 because they're our best ones. And now we fly the next mission. Now is when the game gets into kind of its meat, the complicated aspect of the game. So this is pretty much like playing a true full part of the game, no more tutorials or anything considered. So my approach has always been to increase my height flying in, and then trying to approach through the clouds. If you fly into the clouds, you cannot be shot in the clouds, but you can shoot out from the clouds, so they provide cover for you. If you want to gain extra distance, you need to dive, but of course, as has already been indicated, if you dive, you lose the advantage of being higher than your opponent. So you want to make sure that you have that height advantage, that altitude advantage. Alright, let's bring that in. This person is still flying the old vehicle, so I should have probably changed everyone else's vehicles. They might be able to shoot at us before we get into the clouds in time. We're about to find out. Oh, nope, he didn't come towards us. That was a mistake. Okay, so fly straight through. And now we will hide out around the clouds. Now you might notice these red hexes. These red outlined hexes mean that if you fly in that area, you will be shot from the flak cannons below. So you have to be very careful when you're considering flying. This whole area, this map, I think this looks like a pretty easy looking arrangement. So my strategy is just going to be try to stay inside of the clouds and then shoot out at them when I can. So that does 31 damage, but if we do that, it's a head-on shot for these two, so that's actually probably good. They'll probably do 10 damage to me at worst. Let's climb, and then if somebody comes straight across and opens fires on me, yeah, that's the easy difficulty part of it. They should have opened fired on me, but they didn't. Okay, so let's just take that shot. And let's just go straight on through. So we only got 22% of damage on that one. And again, the enemy pilot should have unloaded on us this time, but it didn't because of easier difficulties. The objective on this map is to destroy these German... Is this German support? It's the tanks, basically. Our goal is to destroy the tanks. And if you wanted to, you could destroy the tanks and then approach the edge of the map to leave, and you would win. So that is a consideration that you can keep in mind if you want to play that way. Not me, though. I need to destroy everything on the map for the maximum score. So here's an example of if you want to do damage, you can do that and do 39 damage. 36 damage, sorry. Can't numbers. You can do 36 damage to that one, or you can fly straight into the clouds again for safety. There's also this red pulsing bumping thing, forced landing. If your plane has taken a lot of damage, I don't know why you would ever do this, to be honest. This would be to land. So you can land your plane and basically abandon your pilot. We're not doing that, though. We're going to go into the cloud, and we're going to cycle around here, take down that tank. So now we only have one tank left to go. So far, our score is fantastic. Oh, this is too good to pass up. So, wait. Which here? Is this the one that... Okay. So if you're looking at the health here, I was trying to figure out which pilot this one was. So this pilot here has their tail exposed to our pilot in the cloud. And even though he still has a lot of health on his vehicle, we're going to approach directly from behind. So this is almost like textbook where you want to place your shots in a flight simulator game. So you come out there, you open fire, he dies. So he goes down, rather. Now we'll see if there is another pilot. If there is another pilot hiding back here ready to pounce on us. And that, again, character could have done it. This is the amount of damage that you take from flak. So there you go. And we can probably... we can finish this one off. Something to point out, though, is that this person's engines are on fire. Once your health is at half or lower, then there's a condition that's put onto the plane. When a plane is on fire, it will lose health more and more each turn, so it increases the urgency and the demand and needed for being able to respond to a threat. And you can also have other small, minor problems. The one that I prefer is that flight stabilizers and stuff go out and you can't use as many aerobatic moves. So you can't do loops and stuff like that, or you can't bank or can't do diving maneuvers. And so there are other limitations that are put on your aircraft. Now you can switch between the different pilots by right-clicking up here. This is something that I only recently discovered, and the reason why that's important is sometimes you'll want one character to get credit for shooting down the enemy plane, and you'll want that over the other. So for here, it's not going to work out that great for us. It's not a good example for it, but say I wanted to just do enough damage to damage this plane and not kill it, then switch over to my wingman, and then my wingman would inflict the damage to it, and that would allow my wingman to bring it down and get credit for a kill, which would then level up the wingman, or vice versa. Like the achievement that I was going for, I wanted to shoot down all planes with one pilot, and so I had to keep right-clicking on my different pilots to be able to switch the order, because naturally it wants to have the first pilot first, and then go through after that. But we are just going to shoot down this one. So we get 2 pilots shot down. And then let's just do the slow, and easy wins the race. So now we're out of the red zone. Red is dead. We want nothing to do with that. Fly over, finish shooting it, finish.
Mission accomplished.
Alright, there we go. So now you can look at the score. As you can see, light damage, the more damage that you get on your vessels, on your airships, on your airplanes, the more damage you have, the that is negated from your score, and then you get destroyed, destroyed, crashed, crashed, and then you get the victory, and then that gives you the squad mission score. And if you want, you can click this replay mission, which will then give you a better perspective. Oops, you can't rotate the camera at all. Which will give you a better perspective on the whole fight if you wanted to watch it as if it was in flight simulation mode. And so it's repeating what we just did in the last game, just in a faster format and a little bit easier to watch, and you could appreciate it if you wanted. But this is purely a novelty, just so you can re-watch through it and be like, ah, it was a battle. It was a firefight. And then they took down that plane. And we took down that plane. And we destroyed the tank on the ground still. Then you just go through again. You kind of get the idea. Once you get to the end of a series of missions, you have like a critical part of the story that of the battle in World War II comes to play. And at that critical point, then you can fight with all of your planes, you bring everybody into it, and then they're all fighting for a critical part of the game. So you can choose to spread out the upgrades, or you can hoard them all to yourself like I tend to do. Sitting ducks, that's an easy one to level up somebody who's new. So now these are 2 unnamed pilots, so we should be able to beat them, even though this person has no experience. So that is the purpose of the Sitting Ducks one. It's a basically an easy quest. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about Sid Meier's Ace Patrol. It's a pretty solid game. It's relaxing. It's kind of slower paced. You got to be in the mood to play this game. Sometimes I'm not in the mood, and I don't feel like sitting down and telling a plane to move bit by bit, because I don't know if you feel this way just from watching the gameplay, but it feels slow to me to just have to be like, okay, go this way, and okay, now I gotta wait until this animation is done, okay, that animation's done, their turn, now it's my turn. It's almost more like a turn-based game, but not done that well. It's a good, solid game, and it'll provide interest to somebody who does not get this from any other type of game. I personally have never played any other game like Sid Meier's Ace Patrol. This is the first time I've played a game like this, and it's interesting, but you're not going to get that much out of the game gameplay-wise. As far as keeping your interest, unless you're going for achievements or there's something else that's motivating you, getting through the game takes about maybe 4 or 5 hours if you're playing on an easier difficulty, and it is, after you play through one, you can play through each campaign, and the only other incentive that they're giving you to play through the game is that after you complete the game, you unlock special skins that you can put on your airplanes. And that's purely cosmetic and doesn't do anything for the game one way or another. It's nice that it's there, it gives people more options, and it gives you a reward for continuing to replay the game, but it's purely aesthetic, and it's only given at the end, so you have to play through again to see them. It's not a selling point to me, really. But the game's cheap. You can pick it up in bundles. It's definitely worth a playthrough if you have the time, want to just go through. It is a tougher 100% achievement complete rate. I'm not going to go for all the achievements in this game because I don't feel like playing through them all. A lot of the achievements are earned really easily, really quickly. I figured out how to get some of the achievements, like the victory ones. There's a guide for that one. Some of the achievements did look like they were broken, like getting the 5,000 point achievement. I got one by increasing the difficulty. So here it is. So 5,000 point mission American. So I got that by setting it to legendary.
Excellent.
And then choosing a mission that I liked. None of those ones. Those aren't good missions. So there's a way that you can do that. If you want to get the achievements the way I did, I'm just going to show you how I did it, just, you know, for the sake of showing it. Load back in, select mission. Okay, I don't like these missions. Actually, we just did sitting ducks, so we might not want to. Tanks. Carpet bombing. So what I would do is I would take it, crank it up to 5, and then that's the defense. We'd want a balloon. We would want balloon popper or something that has balloons. That would be a bit easier to play through. Get a higher score for that. Jump back in that. Wake up call. I don't remember what the missions are all called, but you could just keep doing that, and as long as you didn't just do that mission, you should eventually get it in your rotation because it keeps changing as you switch between that. So I'm going to load a couple other games just to show what it looks like to get through there. Haha, good old Katniss Lucky Everdeen. She got me my 50 shoot down achievements.
Yes.
By the way,
sir.
she looked like Katniss because this is how she looked when she first showed up, and then she got a hat and progressively looked less like Katniss and looked more like a decorated war hero. So there's that. Then this was the final mission that I played before that. Obviously playing the Germans. Everyone else is underleveled. It was an interesting campaign. And whoops, let's not save. And then we'll load the game that I was currently playing. Sitting Ducks. There it is. This is where I got the achievement.
Yes,
There's an achievement for getting through on each of the difficulties and shooting down enough enemy planes. Although I think here they are. So win a mission on pilot difficulty, win a mission on ace difficulty, win a mission on leader difficulty. And so I got those achievements by doing Sitting Ducks and then playing rookie, then reloading, playing moderate, reloading, playing ace, reloading, leader, reloading, legend. Then there's also one for shooting down 3 planes. That one you need a balloon mission, and then level up somebody up beyond that. It was easiest to do that because I did these achievements at the same time as working on getting my German pilot, which this isn't German, this is America, getting my German pilot up to 50. So that's when I got those achievements as well. So that'll give you the idea. Otherwise, the rest of the achievements, campaigns or score-based, and I don't feel like playing through trying to get the highest score on the missions. If I'm going to replay it maybe someday and work on those achievements, I will. I don't feel like it at this point. It's getting really grindy, and I'm ready to move on to another game. But this game has some replayability and will definitely keep people interested. So, those are my thoughts on Sid Meier's Ace Patrol. Thank you for watching. Once again, my name's Atratzu, and if you like this type of video, please do like, subscribe, and there are plenty more videos like this to choose from that I will be including as suggested videos at the end of the video, or different icons that'll like pop up in the top right of the screen saying, hey, you should probably click on one of these. You might like one of these videos. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time.